When I look at Mia's chart through the lens of Nakshatra, MBTI, and Enneagram, I don't start with a label. I don't begin by saying she is an ENTJ or she is type 8, and then force the chart to fit the psychology. That is the wrong direction. The correct direction is this. First, I look at the personal planets. I look at Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. I ask, how does the emotional body work? How does the intellect process reality? How does the person create, relate, enjoy, and bond? How does the person act, fight, defend, compete, and execute? Then I look at the nakshatra layer, because nakshatra is the bridge. Nakshatra tells us the instinct underneath the planet. MBTI tells us the cognitive operating system. Enneagram tells us the core fear, desire, defense, and motivation. So for Mia, the conclusion is very clear. The dominant MBTI pattern is ENTJ, the commander. The dominant Enneagram pattern is type 8, the challenger. More specifically, Mia carries the signature of an ENTJ 8w7 with a strong 8-3-6 tritype. That means the core personality is not simply strong or confident. It is strategic, protective, achievement-oriented, mentally fast, emotionally guarded, and deeply wired to stay competent under pressure. And this is where the reading becomes important for parents, counselors, teachers, and anyone trying to understand a child or teenager like Mia. Because if you only see the outer Gemini ascendant, you may assume she's just curious, talkative, clever, adaptable, and social. And yes, that is there. But if you stop there, you will miss the deeper engine. Underneath the quick mind is a serious emotional body. Underneath the charm is control. Underneath the intelligence is survival awareness. Underneath the creativity is precision. Underneath the action system is a warrior. Mia has Gemini Rising in Punarvasu. This gives the surface personality a mercurial field. Quick learning, communication, questions, ideas, writing, speech, comparison, humor, adaptability, and the ability to restart. Punarvasu adds the ability to recover, return, rebuild, advise, guide, and emotionally reconnect after a break. So the first layer of Mia is not rigid. She can change. She can learn again. She can come back from a setback. She can explain, teach, persuade, and understand multiple sides of an issue. But Punarvasu alone would not make her an ENTJ type 8. The real diagnosis begins when we look at her Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Her Moon is in Capricorn, in Uttara Ashada, in the 8th house. This is the emotional body. The Moon is how she absorbs reality. It is not just feelings. It is conditioning. It is memory. It is emotional security. It is the way a person receives the world before the intellect even explains it. With Moon in the 8th house, Mia does not have a light emotional body. She absorbs hidden undercurrents. She notices tension. She notices secrets. She notices betrayal. She notices power dynamics. She may not always say what she feels, but she registers everything. This is the emotional signature of someone who can become private, guarded, intense, observant, and psychologically sharp very early in life. Now add Capricorn. Capricorn does not emotionally collapse easily. Capricorn carries weight. Capricorn learns responsibility. Capricorn internalizes pressure. So Mia's Moon does not simply want comfort. It wants control, structure, respect, competence, and emotional safety through self-mastery. She may not enjoy being seen as vulnerable. She may resist pity. She may prefer to look capable even when she is internally processing something heavy. Then the nakshatra is Uttara Ashada. This is a major diagnostic point. Uttara Ashada carries discipline, determination, long-term success, leadership, authority, duty, administration, and the need to win through sustained effort. This nakshatra maps strongly to ENTJ, ESTJ, and ISTJ patterns and to Enneagram type 8, type 3, and type 1. So emotionally, Mia is not primarily a dreamy, sentimental, emotionally dependent type. Her emotional body is closer to the strategist, the achiever, the survivor, the person who says, I will handle this. I will not fall apart. I will become stronger. That is why type 8 becomes dominant. Type 8 is not just aggression. Type 8 is the refusal to feel powerless. Type 8 is the instinct to protect the self and others from weakness, control, betrayal, manipulation, and humiliation. In Mia's case, this type 8 is emotionally rooted. It comes through the Moon. This means her strength is not a performance. It is a defense system. She may become strong because softness feels unsafe until trust is proven. Now we move to Mercury. Mercury is extremely important because Mia is Gemini ascendant. Mercury becomes the chart lord. It governs identity, body expression, thinking style, nervous system, communication, learning, and inner orientation. Mercury shows how her mind works. Mia's Mercury is in Libra in Swati in the 5th house. This is a sharp placement. The 5th house is intelligence, creativity, discernment, strategy, learning, performance, expression, and talent. When the ascendant lord goes into the 5th house, identity becomes linked with intelligence. Mia needs to feel mentally capable. She wants to understand. She wants to interpret. She wants to think for herself. She may not tolerate being spoken down to, especially if the explanation is weak. Mercury in Libra gives negotiation intelligence. This is the mind that reads balance, fairness, presentation, relationship dynamics, social positioning, and the logic of both sides. She can argue a point. She can see what others are not saying. She can understand the social consequences of words. She can persuade, reposition, debate, and negotiate. Then Mercury is in Swati. Swati is one of the clearest signatures of independence, movement, self-made intelligence, social mobility, business instinct, contracts, negotiation, media, travel, and freedom. Swati does not like being trapped. It wants space. It wants air. It wants motion. It wants choice. It wants to test its own ability. This is where the ENTP layer enters. Mercury in Swati gives Mia a quick, witty, debating, questioning, entrepreneurial mind. She may challenge ideas not because she is disrespectful, but because her mind needs to test the strength of the structure. If the logic is weak, she will notice. If the rule is unfair, she will notice. If the adult is inconsistent, she will notice. But because Saturn is also in Libra in the 5th house, this Mercury is not just playful. Saturn adds seriousness, discipline, caution, long-term thinking, and strategic control. So Mia is not merely scattered curiosity. She has the ability to become focused, tactical, and precise when the goal matters. This is why ENTJ becomes stronger than ENTP as the final typing. The mind has ENTP agility, but the emotional body and action body are much more commanding, controlled, strategic, and power-oriented. Now let's look at Venus. Venus shows creative engagement, pleasure, taste, bonding, aesthetics, hobbies, value system, and relational style. Mia's Venus is in Virgo in Hasta in the 4th house. This is not a Venus that only wants glamour, romance, or indulgence. Venus in Virgo wants refinement. It wants usefulness. It wants order. It wants skill. It wants improvement. It wants beauty that serves a function. The 4th house makes this deeply private and emotionally rooted. Mia's creativity is connected to her inner environment. If the home or emotional space is chaotic, she may feel unsettled. If her space is clean, beautiful, organized, and meaningful, her creativity opens. She may care about how things are arranged, how they look, how they function, and whether they feel right. Hasta is the nakshatra of hands, skill, craft, documentation, healing, organization, communication, and practical artistry. Venus in Hasta gives creative intelligence through the hands. This can show as drawing, writing, journaling, design, craft, music, dance, mudras, visual notes, decoration, fashion sense, healing arts, hand-based instruments, or digital design. It can also show as the ability to make something beautiful and useful at the same time. This Venus gives Mia a softer layer, but not a weak layer. It gives her skill. It gives her detail. It gives her refinement. It gives her the ability to serve through excellence. In Enneagram language, this brings in Type 6, Type 2, and Type 3 themes: loyalty, usefulness, preparedness, service, and achievement. In MBTI language, it adds ISFJ and ISTP undertones: practical hands, healing intelligence, craft, method, and problem-solving through technique. So when you guide Mia creatively, don't only give her vague inspiration. Give her tools, give her methods, give her a project, give her something she can improve. Give her a visible before and after. Give her skill-based creativity. Now we come to Mars. Mars is the action system. Mars is logic in motion. Mars is how a person fights, protects, competes, executes, and responds to pressure. Mia's Mars is in Scorpio, in Jeshta, in the 6th house. This is one of the strongest signatures in the chart. Mars in Scorpio is not random anger. It is strategic force. It is controlled intensity. It is survival intelligence. It is the ability to go deep into a problem and not be afraid of complexity. Scorpio wants to know what is hidden. Scorpio wants to uncover motives, weaknesses, secrets, and vulnerabilities. Mars here becomes a tactical warrior. Now put that Mars in the 6th house. The 6th house is conflict, competition, service, discipline, enemies, health, daily effort, correction, and problem solving. Mars in the 6th is powerful because Mars knows how to fight. It knows how to confront obstacles. It knows how to take action when something is wrong. This placement can make Mia highly effective under pressure. She may become sharper when challenged. She may perform better when there is a problem to solve, a competition to win, a weakness to correct, or a mission to complete. Then Mars is in Jyeshta. Jyeshta is a nakshatra of power, seniority, protection, resource management, intensity, leadership, crisis handling, and psychological force. It maps strongly to ENTJ, ESTJ, and INTJ, and to Enneagram Type 8, Type 3, and Type 5. This confirms the dominant diagnosis again. Mia's action body is Type 8, her emotional body is Type 8, her achievement drive carries Type 3, her vigilance carries Type 6, her investigative layer carries Type 5. But the central spine is Type 8. This is the child or teenager who must not be shamed for intensity. She must be trained in the right use of intensity. If you suppress Mars in Scorpio, it does not disappear. It becomes irritation, secrecy, control, resentment, or internal pressure. But if you train it, it becomes martial arts, athletics, debate, research, leadership, emergency response, strategy, psychology, coding, security, investigation, medicine, surgery, engineering, or high-level problem solving. This is why the correct reading is not, Mia is difficult. The correct reading is, Mia needs a mission. She needs something worthy of her mind, her will, her hands, and her emotional depth. Now let's bring MBTI fully into focus. The strongest MBTI type is ENTJ. Why? Because ENTJ is the strategic commander. It leads through structure, direction, efficiency, decision-making, and outcome orientation. Mia's moon in Uttara Ashada gives the emotional need for long-term control, success, respect, and authority. Her Mars in Jyeshta gives tactical action, protection, and crisis competence. Her Mercury in Swati gives strategic communication, negotiation, and independent thinking. Her Venus in Hasta gives practical skill and refinement. This is not just an intellectual type. This is a person who wants to convert intelligence into command. But she is not a flat ENTJ. She has an ENTP mind overlay through Mercury in Swati. This means she may be witty, questioning, experimental, playful with ideas, and resistant to intellectual control. She may debate to test truth. She may enjoy alternatives. She may ask why more than once. And if the answer is not good enough, she may not accept it. She has an INTJ depth overlay through Moon in the 8th and Mars in Scorpio. This gives privacy, strategy, research, intensity, and psychological perception. She may have a side that does not reveal everything. She may quietly observe people before trusting them. She may know more than she says. She has an ESTJ executive overlay through Uttara Ashada and Jyeshta. This gives order, discipline, rules, responsibility, and the ability to manage practical realities. And she has a smaller ISFJ-ISTP creative service overlay through Venus in Hasta, giving hands-on skill, healing, detail, craft, and practical creativity. But the final MBTI call remains ENTJ, with ENTP intellect and INTJ depth. Now let's bring Enneagram into focus. The dominant Enneagram type is Type 8. Type 8 wants autonomy. Type 8 wants strength. Type 8 does not like being controlled. Type 8 reacts strongly to betrayal, injustice, weakness, manipulation, and powerlessness. But in a child or teenager, Type 8 may not always look like obvious dominance. Sometimes it looks like resistance. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like refusing to be emotionally exposed. Sometimes it looks like protecting younger children, defending a friend, challenging an unfair teacher, or refusing to obey a rule that feels irrational. Mia's Type 8 is supported by Moon in Uttara Ashada and Mars in Jyeshta. That means her Type 8 is both emotional and action-based. She feels power dynamics and then acts to control or correct them. The wing is most likely 8w7 because Mercury in Swati brings freedom, movement, options, independence, and mental agility. This makes her more exploratory, sharp, witty, restless, and future-facing than a heavier 8w9. She may need space, variety, and autonomy. If boxed in too tightly, she may rebel mentally before she rebels behaviorally. The tritype is likely 8-3-6. Type 8 says, I must be strong. Type 3 says, I must be competent, successful, impressive, and effective. Type 6 says, I must know who is trustworthy, what can go wrong, and how to stay prepared. This makes Mia a protective achiever. She is not just trying to win. She is trying to be safe through competence. She is trying to be respected through results. She is trying to trust through testing. And this is very important for parents. If you are raising a Mia-type child, don't confuse her questioning with disrespect. Don't confuse her guardedness with coldness. Don't confuse her intensity with bad behavior. Don't confuse her need for control with arrogance. Often, it is a child trying to feel safe, capable, and respected in a world that feels inconsistent. The best way to guide her is not through humiliation, emotional pressure, or vague moral lectures. She needs clear logic. She needs respectful boundaries. She needs responsibility. She needs skill building. She needs physical outlets. She needs creative tools. She needs privacy. She needs someone who can speak to her strength without attacking her dignity. Give her leadership, but also teach accountability. Give her debate, but also teach listening. Give her independence, but also teach cooperation. Give her strength, but also teach tenderness. Give her strategy, but also teach emotional honesty. Because the shadow of ENTJ type 8 is control without vulnerability, winning without softness, intelligence without patience, protection without trust, action without emotional reflection. But the gift of ENTJ type 8 is extraordinary. This is the person who can lead under pressure. This is the person who can protect others. This is the person who can see the weak point in a system and fix it. This is the person who can take chaos and impose direction. This is the person who can walk into a crisis and become sharper, not weaker. For Mia, Nakshatra gives the missing bridge. MBTI tells us how the mind organizes reality. Enneagram tells us what fear and desire drive the personality. But Nakshatra tells us why this exact type forms in this exact way. Punarvasu gives the restart intelligence. Uttara Ashada gives emotional authority and long-term victory. Swati gives independent intellect and negotiation. Hasta gives skilled creativity through hands and service. Jyeshta gives protective power, crisis strategy, and the refusal to be weak. So Mia is not just an ENTJ. She is a nakshatra-specific ENTJ. She is not just a type 8. She is a planetary type 8 formed through Moon, Mars, Mercury, and Venus in very specific houses and stars. That is why this system is so powerful for children and teenagers. Because a standard personality test may tell you the label, but the chart shows you the architecture behind the label. It shows what part of the child is emotional, what part is intellectual, what part is creative, what part is defensive, what part needs discipline, what part needs safety, and what part needs expression. For Mia, the development path is clear. She needs intellectually rich education. She needs debate, strategy, communication, writing, research, and leadership. She needs physical discipline like martial arts, athletics, dance, or structured movement. She needs creative outlets through hands, design, journaling, music, craft, or digital creation. She needs emotional privacy, but not emotional isolation. She needs adults who are strong enough to guide her without trying to dominate her. If guided well, Mia can become a powerful blend of strategist, communicator, protector, creator, and leader. If misunderstood, she may become defensive, controlling, overly critical, emotionally closed, or locked into power struggles. So the goal is not to break her will. The goal is to refine it. The goal is not to make her softer by weakening her. The goal is to make her strong enough to be soft safely. That is the real work. And this is exactly why I use Nakshatra as the bridge into MBTI and Enneagram, because when you understand the moon, you understand the emotional body. When you understand Mercury, you understand the mind. When you understand Venus, you understand value, bonding, creativity, and pleasure. When you understand Mars, you understand logic, action, conflict, and courage. And when you combine that with Nakshatra, you stop guessing personality. You start diagnosing the operating system. If you are a parent, teacher, counselor, or someone working with a child or teenager, this kind of reading can change the way you guide them. You stop asking, why is this child like this? And you start asking, what is this child built to become? For a child like Mia, the answer is not small. She is built for intelligence, leadership, resilience, protection, strategy, and deep transformation. And if you want a reading like this for your child or teenager, one that maps Nakshatra, MBTI, Enneagram, emotional body, intellect, creativity, action style, strengths, risks, education style, and personality development path, get in touch with me for a reading that works for you, your child, and the stage of life they are actually in.